It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire. Our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Karen Burks. That's right, she's in the building, and she'll be talking about marketplace ministry. We'll find out what that's all about. What's going on, Karen? How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm very well. Thank you so much, sir, for having me on today. I'm so excited to share about marketplace ministry with you all.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. You know, sometimes I don't get a chance to meet people and others. I have a chance to meet them actually in person. So I actually a chance to meet you. So it's pretty cool to connect via these virtual lines right now. Take a moment. Some people are reading the title saying marketplace ministry, Shay. What in the LL Cool J is even that even mean? Well, I don't know. So take a moment. Marketplace ministry. Why'd you select that topic and why is it so important these days?
Absolutely. So I'll share, Mr. Brown, a little bit about myself and the work that I do. So my background is in banking, and I have loved the work within the banking industry. And most importantly, what drove me into business was within the banking industry. I understood there was a barrier of educating individuals within economics and understanding how they can level up financially and just different resources. And so while doing that work, I also work within the ministry, teaching as well as for its economic empowerment, right? And so we are empowering people economically, leveling up to that next level, whether it may be finding that job that they desire, that career, starting the new business, getting a new home. So providing those resources. So pretty much marrying the two, right? So within your career, how it could also align within ministry and helping individuals to navigate to that next level, excel within their personal life, to just make them grow and advance within the kingdom. Yeah.
You know, I know you talk a lot about money, you have books as well, and I know you've written them for children and others. And I'm curious, before we get into the whole marketplace ministry, just based on your research and review, why do people still struggle so much with just being able to handle their finances and handle money? Now, I'm guilty, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm not here for therapy, by the way, but I'm raising my hand saying I'm not perfect either, by the way. But I'm curious, we have all these apps on our phone. I've got more financial apps than you can shake a stick at, by the way. So the question, why do people still struggle with really understanding and handling money these days?
Oh, that is a great question. And still, it's still just a challenge for any just common person, right? That there are things that happen in life that some just may not be able to just really kind of go over that hurdle. Things happen. Like even here, I'm in Louisiana, we have natural disasters such as hurricanes that's coming through, and especially in Florida as well. And so oftentimes people just don't have enough funds to getting $500 perhaps to even get in a hotel for just a natural disaster, and just planning for those things, right? But it's a mindset. I always tell people it's a mindset. We pay and do for what we desire and what we're wanting. If it's a concert we're wanting to go to, if it's a special event, something that we have interest in, definitely we're going to make that investment. If we have a child that's sick, we're going to find out a way in order to get the funds, in order to make sure that that child has the type of medicine that is needed in order to keep that child living, right? So it's a mindset. It's what you're putting that priority to as far as what you're wanting, but changing that mindset, incorporating not only just you wanting to get that done, but having an accountability partner, incorporating prayer with that, within what you're really wanting to do, and being consistent with it. We know we can start off really good with those things, such as, when you're going on a diet, when you say you're about to lose some weight, you can start off good in the beginning, right? Likewise, whenever you're trying to make the change within your finances, it starts off good. You make that mindset change, but being consistent in it is the key component. Yeah.
You mentioned consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, most people struggle with consistency. Somebody be like, Shay, before you even get into more of her backstory, how does she how is one Karen consistent, and what does she recommend to us that are out there that need to be more consistent? They like me, remember thinking, share everything she's saying I can teach, everything she's saying I know, I just don't always do it. So what'd you say to that
That is
person
so
that's listening? One, how can they be
oh,
consistent, and what's your secret?
yes. So again, just changing that mindset, knowing that this is something that you really want to do. One thing that I know I can't do it on my own, so I have people to help me help myself in this process, right? So accountability partners, and that may look like a mentor, right? So I have someone to share with me their strategies, their wisdom of, hey, how did you do this? There are books out there that you can read and take wisdom from and apply that as well. I always say it's wonderful to have all the great knowledge, but if you're not applying it, what really does that really matter and help you? You have all this information, but you need to apply it, right? So applying those things in which you've learned from those mentors, the people that you have been able to actually get this information and put into action as well, and they are helping you to remain consistent. So if you have a great mentor, don't just be a person that has this mentor 2 or 3 weeks or months and then may not talk with them. Be consistent even with that mentor, right? Because that person is invested in time in order to help you grow and go to that next level. I will even share, even whenever I was wanting to develop with them, just public speaking or going into different engagements, my mentor was able to get me into different doors that perhaps I wasn't able to get myself into. And then it opened up other avenues for me within that consistency of, hey, here's another opportunity to go and speak. Here's something else that you can be doing or reading, right? So again, having that accountability partner and then continually working towards crafting that gift, reading those books and making sure that you're strengthening those areas in which you're, a bit weak in, or I would say a bit challenged in as well.
I love it. And how do you search? You mentioned mentor a couple of times. You mentioned find someone to help you. You mentioned accountability partners. It might be an unfair question, but what do you look for in a mentor? If you're like, Shay, here's step one, step two, step three that I look for in either a mentor or someone that's being accountable. Someone might be saying, yeah, I need that, but I'm just not sure what I should look for in that.
That's so good, Shay. So here's the thing. What I did in order to research or just get the type of mentor that I was looking for, I knew what exactly I desired, what it looked like, the vision that I had for someone that really inspired me, right? So you can seek out those individuals. I love going to conferences and just seeking out just knowledge. But say, for instance, if you see a mentor, someone looking up to that is at a certain conference, why not invest that time and finances to go to that conference, connect with that person, send an email to them, say, hey, can I take about 10-15 minutes of your time to understand a little bit more of the knowledge of how you were able to navigate through this process, because I'm taking this same strategy in order to just go through just get to that next level within my career as well, right? So you really have to do your due diligence as far as how to reach out to those individuals you have interest in learning from, right? Going to those conferences, asking them, hey, what book are you reading this month? Or what book should I be reading? What do you think I should be doing at this time in order to get to that next level? So those are some things that I've done in order to just get to that next level within career, and even just, again, connecting with the right mentor. One thing in particular that I definitely did was I emailed someone that I had interest in learning from within the banking industry. And from that email, it worked as far as me learning more within the industry, understanding, even she worked as an adjunct professor. So I also did some work in higher education as well. So you just never know how you're just able to learn from someone else and be able to navigate that particular way of learning through a mentor as well. So just another way of learning.
I love it.
Yes.
And you also written the book, and I know this is a transition, making sense
Yeah.
of dollars and cents. And although it was a
Yeah.
children's book, tell us what's the backstory? What made you want to do that book? And then more specifically, although we can use it as adults, what made you want to really make it something fun and interesting for children to use as a coloring book?
Yes, that's so good. Thanks for asking that question. So, uh, I always knew that I would be in banking as a little girl. I love counting money. I would count money with my dad as a little girl, and just love going to the bank, visiting the bank as a little girl. But as an adult, I grew up, and my first big girl career, I would say, was at a bank working part time at a community bank, and then going to school full time. And then while navigating through the financial industry, I understood that there was just that barrier of people just not knowing how to get access to capital, how to perhaps understand how to budget. I worked in collections as one of my areas as far as my position, and I asked to work in that position, and my manager was like, "Well, why you're wanting to work in collections?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not always you're taking something from someone; it's where you're able to educate them as far as how they got into that position and how they can stay out of that." Right. And so whenever I understood that there was that barrier, it birthed my business, Burks Management Firm. And within working within the banking industry, a lot of young people didn't have bank accounts. And I'm like, well, oftentimes you can learn a lot based by having those bank accounts established. There was a study a while back, I want to say maybe in the early 2000s, from the University of Washington, that stated about 6% of students that have children's savings accounts are more likely to attend college, right? So, not stating that college is the all there be there as far as succeeding, but you have a little bit more as far as that success goal and understanding finances a little bit better. That's just economically whenever you are teaching those young people early. So I wanted to create this. I created this financial literacy coloring book for kids to make it fun and engaging, but just a introductory, a foundational level of understanding finances, because it's not oftentimes taught in schools. Just here in Louisiana, we just had it passed for House Bill to be passed in order, it's House Bill 103 to be passed in order to have financial literacy as a mandatory course in high school here, which is an amazing way in which we are able to help our young people to thrive financially and just understand economics. So that's what birth making sense of dollars and cents, the coloring book. There is also a financial literacy song that goes with it called Making Sense of Dollars and Cents as well. So definitely that was just my way of just wanting to share just the importance of financial literacy for our young people.
Yeah, and when you was talking, we could hear the excitement coming out. We could see the energy coming out. I guess the question I would have is, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing right now in this marketplace ministry?
Yes, absolutely. So, combined with within ministry, of course, within economic empowerment, we're just helping people to elevate financially. Whether again it be within their careers, we do career fairs. We've had a fire landlord conference where we help people to understand the navigations of getting into a home. And throughout that particular conference, we had three individuals that attended that conference to purchase a home. We were giving out keys like they had already had their homes, but it was just a way in order to just identify with them, like, hey, you can have actually have this key. And we had three individuals to purchase homes, right? And even within that, just understanding how I can help individuals to go to that next level financially is really, I would say, impactful. Just recently, Burks Management Firm was able to host a event for teens for financial literacy, along with a life skills training for teens as well. We were able to help 16 students to establish savings accounts, and six of those 16 were able to open children's savings accounts, which is a little bit different than a regular savings accounts, right? So we're just trying to make sure that we are helping those individuals navigate to that next level. Oftentimes when we're teaching the young people, it trickles down to the parents because they tell their parents. So I'm reaching not only the children but also the parents as well. So yeah.
Ah, I love it, by the way. And as you were speaking, I was thinking that's a perfect segue into a segment we have and all the wonderful things you're doing called Today is my January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what I'm about to do, by the way. You can say those magical words. Maybe you wait till it's time to say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good? For everyone else who's tuned in for the very first time, and this is your very first time at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the show. It represents a fresh start. It means you get a do-over. It means you don't wait till January 1st. It means your past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Karen Burks on the other side is really two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, what was a setback in your life? And how did you bounce back from it? I mean, everybody might think your life is perfect. So, man, she worked a job. She went to school. Her life has just got mentors. Maybe if your life's perfect, just say, hey, I got a perfect life. But if there was ever a challenge, how did you bounce back from it?
Great question, Shay. So, oh my gosh, this is a great question because, yes, there were many setbacks. Not many would believe that I am the first within my family to graduate from college. And it took 7 years for me to do that. I tell you, it was a challenge for me to just even get through that process of understanding how to go through college, having a blueprint for it. And so, what really brings it full circle, while I was in high school, there was this program called Trio. Pretty much, I was a part of Talent Search, whereas if you're a first generation particular student, where you're able to just go to a different college and visit those particular colleges. And so, full circle, I became one of those instructors through Trios, which is considered upward bound, where I was able to teach high school students pertaining to financial literacy, along with personal finance and just life skills, right? So that was kind of that setback for me. But even outside of that, I was not always that person that wanted to speak. I would sit back and quiet, not too shy, but when I speak, I had something to say, right? But I remembered this because while getting my master's degree at the University of Redlands, I had a professor. We were doing um, our last, or I would say, um, presentation, right? And so we all had to get up and speak, and it was about 10 of us in this particular class, and it was like an auditorium. And I'm like, why are we in this big class and it's an auditorium type sitting, and we don't need all of this room? But nonetheless, I had to get up and speak. And when I tell you I was nervous, I don't like doing all of that. And I really had that setback. I didn't like to speak in public, any of that. And I had to get out of that. But when I tell you, I did my presentation, and after every presentation, our professor, he gave us our feedback. And when I tell you I was so nervous, I'm like, what is this man going to tell me? Because I don't think I did as well as I should have. And of course, he gave me in the beginning the positive portions of it. And this is the first time that I had someone to affirm me in this way. He stated to me, Karen, you did an amazing job. You spoke well. You articulated. You use inflection in your voice. You did a great job. I was able to, because he was sitting all the way in the back. And I'm like, wow, okay. Well, I've never had anyone to tell me that whenever I was giving a presentation. And so that really lit a fire in me as far as speaking and wanting to speak a little bit more. Not to say that I'm going out there getting all these different engagements, but I really took that, and I took that in a way in order to say, hey, there is something that I have to say and share. Les Brown is one of my favorite motivational speakers. And so I oftentimes listen to him when there are those days that I feel as though, oh, well, did I do a great job at this, or could I have done something a little bit different? So that's what I would say. That would be my new day, or that first that area of just redoing it or starting over, as far as whenever I go out to speak, I'm able to share that particular story of how I was able to overcome that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You're doing great today, by the way. So great job, by the way. Great job on the other side. You're rocking and rolling. For those folks that are listening,
Thank you.
you're welcome so much. You're welcome so much. We have another segment. I get to ask a question sometime, and I think it's very important, which is, what do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world, when you're not out writing books, when you're not out helping people move up in the marketplace or move up with finances? What do you do for fun to relax?
Oh, that's a great question. I love it. And I'm so excited to share. I just came back from a 9-day abroad trip to Italy. So we had like seven, it was about 15 of us, and we had about 7 stops, different locations, Rome, of course, Florence, like we Milan, like all of those different areas in which we had the opportunity to visit. I had my first abroad trip was while I was in college at Southeastern Louisiana University. I did a studies abroad in Costa Rica. So I love to travel. Right after that, I went to Memphis, Tennessee